everyone in the room, guys. It's Miss Kiane. I'm a poet and I know it. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Sunday Coaching with yours truly, the one and only Miss Kiane. We're talking about using your powers for good. Using your powers for good. But before we go there, I like to try to have some level of engagement. And we have, we don't have that many people on the line right now, but we like to have some level of engagement. So thank you. It's just a flip up and tear down. I just want to have some level of engagement. So I'll put the question out there. And then as you come on, as you join on, you can still answer. So the question I have for you is, do you have a daily or weekly affirmation? And it's perfect that Asha is on the is watching, because guess what I have? I want to know if you have a personal affirmation that you say to yourself, or that you and your family say with one another, or if maybe it's daily, or maybe it's just weekly, or maybe it's just a motto that you don't say daily or weekly, but it's kind of like the mantra that you have for your life or for yourself personally. If you do, I'd like to hear what that may be, and you can put it in the comments. Just a question. It really doesn't have, well, it does have some connection. I can always make a connection. But I just wanted to know what if any, is your personal affirmation that you say to yourself or with those that you love, or your crew, your squad, or whatever, on a daily basis, maybe a weekly basis. Or even if it's not either weekly or daily, perhaps it's just a mantra that you have for your life. If you do have one, put it in the comments below. I want to know, because perhaps I can glean from some of your affirmations, add them to my daily or weekly or life routine that can help me along the way. And maybe you could hear or see something from another person that they say or that they declare for themselves, and you could take from it. And so while you're thinking about if you have one, if you don't have one, get one, right? That's a line from Toy Story. This is totally an aside. That's a line from Toy Story 1. There's like 4 of them things. And they actually are pretty good. But in the very first one, Woody, the leader doll, the leader toy, tells all the toys to get a moving partner. And he says to them in the meeting, the toy meeting, if you don't have a moving partner, if you don't have one, get one. I don't know why, but for some reason, it's one of the lines of the movie that I remember, and it's like funny. So that's an inside joke. So if you don't have an affirmation, get one, or affirmations that you say, or get them. And right, welcome, Asha. But what I was asking was if you have any, and if you do, go ahead and put them down in those comments for me. And again, we can glean from one another. Asha says she has her overall one is, I'm using every moment to live in purpose, and I choose love. And oh my God, girl, that's why I love you. Because she says something in her affirmation that really ties into what I wanted to kind of chit chat about today. I'll read it again. My overall one, she says, is I'm choosing every moment to live in purpose, on purpose, and I choose love. Choose love, right? My previous pastor used to say, and we declare this all the time, is I be who God say I be. I be it now. I be nothing else. I be nothing less. And so, that utilization of the word be in that way is intentional, because that's a present state, an ongoing state of existing, of being. And so I be that. I be who God says I be. I be it now. I be nothing else. So it kind of takes away all the fluff. My whole direction and focal point is, to be who God says I be. Now, we're talking about the title here is use your powers for good. We're going to be real brief today. I don't even have 3 points. I try to get 3 little points. I got 2. So, yes, current. I have two. So we're gonna be real brief, but hopefully you can glean something from it. And you can share this video with your friends, families, and Facebook, affiliates and things of that nature. And so this is actually a scripture in the Bible. It's located in Deuteronomy chapter 30. I think it's the 19th verse. Okay, if you want to look that up, check it out. You can read it in various versions. I'm not going to read it to you, but I will put it in the comments so that you can know kind of the how do you spell Deuteronomy? Oh yeah, okay. So you can know, I ain't making stuff up. Something in the Bible do say that for real. But post my affirmation. Okay, yes. I be. Matter of fact, I need to get somebody to post this for me. I be it now. I be nothing else and be nothing less. Okay. So there's a scripture in the Bible that talks, you may have heard it. Some people may use it as a cliche or what have you, but it talks about choosing life, right? The scripture specifically, the context is really, God was kind of giving a directive. Look, I'm going to give you two choices, life and death, okay? I'm going to give you victory. I'm going to put before you victory or demise. I'm telling you, choose life. I'm telling you, choose victory. I'm telling you what to choose. He was like giving them a quiz or a test. Here are the questions, here are the choices, and I'm telling you which one to choose. And that the part that I'm lifting out of that is, I've set before you life and death, and I'm telling you to choose life, right? So I was thinking about what to talk about today, and what came to mind was to choices, right? That's why I love your statement. Thanks, man. Thanks, I appreciate it. I was thinking about choices. So, and because it talks about choose. Here's your choices. This is the one I'm telling you to choose. Now you can choose the other one. That's your choice, but I'm telling you which one to choose. So I was thinking about choices and how we have choice. We have the ability to choose. And sometimes we kind of fall victim to the whole I didn't have no choice situation. And hear me very clearly. There are various situations where that statement may be accurate. But I'm talking about places where we made certain choices. Maybe we didn't choose life, is what I'm trying to say. And so here is the statement I want to build on. Engage your will to make choices that are intentional and life-producing. That's the statement. Engage your will to make choices that are intentional and life-producing. So I'm just going to talk about that statement. I started to kind of break that down, right? So what is your will? I think it was just powerful to me. Our will, which is our power, it is our determination. It even includes our discipline. We all have a will. In other words, we all have a power. We all have a level of authority, right? We all have a level of determination. Engage. In other words, pull on, awaken, use your will or your ability or your power or your determination. Engage it. Don't just sit idle to que sera, sera, whatever will happen. Oh well, it happened to me. it happened upon me. But engage your will, engage your power, engage your authority, engage your ability, your discipline, engage your mind. Engage your mind. What? To do what? Engage your will or your power, or engage your will. This statement is engage your will to make choices that are intentional and life producing. So I'm really just breaking down the sentence. That's all I'm doing, and we're going to be done. So engage your will or your power or your determination or your mind, okay? To do what? To make choices. What are choices? What are choices? Choices are simply selections or decisions. It's the direction or the action, right, that you select. Your selections or your decisions. Engage your power to make decisions that are what? That are intentional. That are intentional. I work in decisions. Use your power to make decisions that are not tainted with a lack of control, with a lack of impulse control. Decisions that are not, these are intentional, not rash decisions or emotional. Like, what are you doing in the moment? Why would you make that decision knowing that we put all these things in place and you emotionally, you see something you want, it's fleeting, and you make a decision, right? You make a choice out of emotion. How many of us have made emotional decisions? I have been up, anybody been up 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, wondering how things gonna work out. Next thing you know, the TV's on, and one of them sales infomercials is on. I done purchased all kind of real estate, books, computers, cause you all emotional. I'm sorry, I was all emotional, and so I made these non-intentional decisions. Intention means it's meaningful. You thought about it, right? It has purpose. Engage your power to make selections or decisions, choices that are intentional, that have purpose attached to it. Meaningful. If it's intentional, it's meaningful. Meaning you put some thought into this. You took pause, right? And you didn't allow your emotions or your feelings to dictate the conversation within. You ever had those internal conversations? Your feelings be like, "No, I'm gonna tell her off," and then your more rational side was like, well, that's not appropriate. I don't want to represent that. I am a leader. I am a community member. I don't want to. And then so you having this battle, and not necessarily the devil and the angel. Some people use that. I'm not talking about that, but just that internal conflict, right? And so when you're being thoughtful, you think past the here and now, right? You think past the here and now, and your choices are intentional. Many times we are responding because we're in the here and now, we're in the immediate. Right now, I feel uncomfortable, so I'm gonna make a choice. Right now, I'm embarrassed, so I'm gonna make a choice to blow up on a person in public because I'm embarrassed because they called me on my stuff. And so my choice in that moment, because I'm embarrassed, my feelings, I'm gonna blow up. That is not a decision or a choice that was made intentionally, right? Because it's made kind of impulsive or based on the here and now, versus taking pause to say, you know what, this situation is making me uncomfortable. I want to correct this. I want to address it. How can I address it and maintain my dignity, not necessarily totally burn a bridge, and also maintain some self-respect? I mean, those are questions that when you're intentional about your choices, you begin to ask yourself within, and then you respond, right? So we can engage our power to make choices that are intentional. Also, that is life-producing. Like I said, I only got two points here. It's life-producing. Let's engage our will to make choices that are life-producing. The reference I made earlier was a scripture in the Bible, Deuteronomy, that talks about, basically, I'll put before you some choices: life, death, life, death, life, death. Choose it. If you don't, That's you going whatever the consequences are, the consequences. So and it made me think, man, we really have a choice. We really have a choice. And so let's make choices that are life producing. What do I mean by that? Choices that are not self-serving only, that are not solely self-serving. Should we make choices that serve us? Yes. Sometimes you have to make choices that will serve your body properly, that will serve your mental health properly. You have to look at yourself. You have to put your oxygen mask on first. Yes, but we can get to a place where I know people, and I'm working with some people that they really struggle with thinking and making choices that are life producing, because the motivation behind every choice is self-serving and self-serving only. And I'm not, and I mean, that's, of course, it's like, oh, that's so selfish or whatever. But I'm not really saying that to be judgmental towards them, because some people, I'm like, you really, really, really are not aware of the fact that there are other people in the world. They're not just people, but your choices have ripple effect, and they don't really see and understand. A lot of times children and young people don't see and understand it. So you have to be a little patient with them. And I find that some adults don't see and understand it. So, hopefully you can be a little patient with them. So we need to engage our will, though. We have the power to do that. We have the power and the ability to make choices that are life producing, meaning that they are not simply and solely self-serving, or particularly making decisions that only serve us while condemning another. That's the caveat. If the decision I'm making is strictly to benefit me, and in that benefiting of myself, I have to crush another or crush something else or cause rift in a bigger picture of things, then that's not a life producing choice, right? Life producing choices have long-term positive effect. Long-term positive effect. Choice is life producing. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. A life producing choice evokes growth. Check this. A life producing choice evokes growth in you, maybe a circumstance or others or a whole group. And it doesn't mean your choices are always the correct choice. Even the not so best choice can be a life-producing choice if there's growth out of it. Boom. Let me let that simmer for a little bit, because that kind of messed with my brain a little bit when I was thinking about this. Even a choice that may not have been the best choice can be a life-producing choice if you can glean and glean something, learn a lesson from it, can take the good out of it and apply it. It can be a life, and that's another choice, right? When you had a choice that wasn't the best choice, but you choose on top of that to glean something out of it, guess what? It's a life-producing choice, and you're being intentional about the outcomes of that choice. So here's what I'm saying to us today. Let's use our power. Let's not continue to fall prey to, life is happening to me. I had to do it that way because I had to, I had no choice in the matter to respond that way or to do that thing, and that's just the way it is. It's not always just the way it is. We actually have power, right? We actually have authority. We actually have a mind and some discipline. That's what will is. We can engage our will to make choices, to make decisions, to make selections that are intentional, that have meaning, it's thoughtful and purposeful, to make choices that are life producing, that have long-term positive effects, that are not strictly and solely self-serving while condemning or quashing another. If that makes sense to you, give me a thumbs up, a heart, or a check mark or something like that in the comments, because this is what you could take with you for the week and for your life nuggets. I didn't talk about it today, but some people say, what is Sunday coaching? Sunday coaching is the break between the rounds. In a boxing match, you have two people going at it. They take a break. They go to their separate corners, and in that 1 to 2 minute time, they get a pep talk. They get their brow wiped. They get a little water. They get a reminder of the tools that they already have been given, and then they're thrown back in there to keep on fighting. Sunday coaching is the break between the rounds. So here's what's being said in this break, is to remember to engage your will or your power, your authority, to make choices, make decisions that are intentional or purposeful and life producing, or that which has long lasting positive effects. Because in that particular scripture that I referenced, there are two choices here, and it was life or death, and God's response was, choose life. So it really impressed upon me, and that's, whether you believe in the Bible, God, or not, that's a principle of life. You have choice, you have a will, you have a power, and authority, and to choose. Now it's up to you what you choose, how you choose, and even the decisions that you make, how you respond to the outcomes of those decisions. It's all in our ability, in our purview. It's in our hands. So we don't have to be acted upon, but we can assume our power. So that's my 2 cents, and I'm sticking to it. Engage your will to make choices that are intentional and life-producing. Again, I'm MissKiane. I'm a poet, and I know it. This has been Sunday Coaching, the break between the rounds. Go on back in the round and do your thing. Take these tools with you.